Hey, it's Stalker11 with the next episode of Xenoblade 3 class buffs. This time we're going to be looking at buffing the Stalker class. Debatably the worst class in the game. Heavy Guard is maybe worse, but at least has turret memes that it can do. So if you haven't seen this series yet, it's where I theorize ways to make the classes better by either changing things or giving them arts or skills from existing classes already. So last time we looked at Yumsmith and making it the Blaze-focused class by taking some aspects from Seraph. So we're going to be continuing that and taking the rest of Seraph and giving it to Stalker instead to make it the damage over time for Bleed and low HP focused class. First thing to look at is the skills. So two of these skills we're going to be replacing with skills from Seraph. Those are Swift Death, which increases damage against enemies with low HP. This is really, really bad. There's just no reason to use this. It's such an ineffective skill. If an enemy is already at low HP, then you don't need the increased damage anymore. So we're going to be replacing this with one of Seraph's skills, which is the one that increases damage dealt when your HP is low. So this is both thematically better because it fits with Juniper's character and how Colony Tau is to have low HP based stuff. And it just works so much better in gameplay. Keeps the same theme, but much more effective version of it. In Cold Blood, this is going to be one of the key arts, one of the key skills for the class. This is what kit is really based around, is Bleed. Except Bleed doesn't quite work. That's because debuffs do not apply in Xenoblade 3. They are way too resisted. So there's a very easy fix for this, and it's something that's already in the game, and that is the debuff resistance modifiers for the difficulty settings. Really, they just need to fix the default modifier for debuff resistance. They just need to lower it. It's already in the game for custom difficulty settings. They can just lower it. This isn't even theoretical for how to buff things. This is just a quality of life fix they can put into the game, is just change the debuff resistance modifiers for the difficulty modes. Evasion Expertise, this is nice, I guess, but we're going to be replacing this because it's not really that important. And this one we're going to be keeping because that's pretty useful for it, for how we're going to be increasing its damage. So this is the skill that's going to replace the one for low HP. Just same theme, but much better effect. And then Evasion Expertise we're going to be replacing with Beast Mode. Grants Awakening when damage taken exceeds 25% of max HP. So as soon as you drop to 75% HP, you get Awakening. So Awakening is extremely good. This alone would really, really buff Stalker. And now onto the arts. So before even getting into the arts themselves, one thing that really should be buffed a little is the animation speeds. The arts are really slow on Stalker for some reason. So just buff their animation speeds a bit. So Landslide, not really much to do with this. I just replaced the effect that it has with lowering HP. Well, also can keep the evasion, but also lowers HP by 10%, which is the effect on two of Seraph's arts, since we're going to be making it the low HP based class. Staying Power. So first, what this actually does, when you're standing within the field, it fires off a projectile that deals 2 times your attack stat as damage. I think it's based on who uses the art, not who used the field, but I'm not entirely sure on that. Either way, it doesn't really matter. This is kind of a bad effect, because it just, anything that scales directly off your attack stat is not going to be doing much damage. So I would change the effect of this so that when you use an art within the field, it deals, the projectile it fires off deals half the damage of what your attack would have done before enemy stat calculations come in. So before enemy defense values come into it, just the base damage that you were firing off, take that, cut it in half, and that's what the projectile deals. This way it's going to be a fairly decent source of damage that doesn't generate any aggro at all. especially for spamming arts quickly, which you're going to be doing if you have Awakening to reduce all your cooldowns. So Driving Arrow. This is going to be one of the most important arts since bleed is kind of one of the main things for increasing your damage. But I would increase the ratio on this a little, maybe 260, since your damage over time is based off of the initial art hit. So it should be a little bit stronger for making this a damage over time based class. Rapid Shot. So this is a bit weird in the way it works because this class is very focused on back attacks. I mean, this is a problem with the class in general, is that it just has really poor synergy. It's kind of all over the place. So instead of increasing damage from the side, I would make this so that it inflicts side topple, like Crimson Lance does. Basically, we're just going to make that art into Crimson Lance. Keep the high ratio, but make it topple instead of side damage, so that it's just the effect of Crimson Lance here. And also, Leveling Fire, going to show that quick because that's going to be with the next art to look at, is Night Hunt. We're going to be replacing with the effect of Leveling Fire instead. So, boosts back damage by 50% and reduces HP when using arts. So we don't really need the aggro reduction on a class that already has other means of aggro reduction through skills and making staying power an actual usable source of damage without drawing any aggro from it. So very unnecessary to have the aggro down on that. Just make it the effect of Leveling Fire, but only from the back. And yeah, that's it for the arts, I think. Oh, right. Town art. Refreshing Rain. Just replace it with Empyrean Salvo. That's it. Just replace it with Empyrean Salvo. Refreshing Rain is a terrible talent art. Empyrean Salvo, make it a bleed-based damage over time instead of blaze, and then you just have a much better talent art. So yeah, basically just replacing Stalker's kit with Seraph, keeping some of the aspects of it, but mostly just replacing it with Seraph. So this would be both thematically good, because it just fits really well with Colony Tau, and it would also work very well with the kit to have it where you reduce your own HP, and then you're fighting from range, so you don't have to worry about getting hit too much. So you can just safely sit at range while you have Awakening. Next episode will probably be Heavy Guard. I'm not sure when I'm going to get to the next episode yet. Might be a while, because I don't really have any ideas yet for Heavy Guard. These first three with Yumsmith, Stalker, and Tactician, I had them all planned out from the start, so I was able to work on them all around the same time. But I haven't figured out anything for Heavy Guard and Lost Vanguard yet, which would be the next classes that I do for this. But if you watch the end, then comment Blossom Dance down below to let me know. And see you next time!